Hello and welcome to week 40 of the Ray of Hope Crochet Along. So this week we're making the Peacock stitch, which is also known as the lemon slice stitch. So this is a really interesting 3D stitch, and it's designed to stick out in the finished design. So it's got this really lovely 3D effect. So how do we make it? We're going to be making this stitch from the short side up, and we're going to be using a 3.5mm hook. And we're starting with a chain of 16. Okay, so the first row, in the fourth chain from your hook, you're going to make a double crochet. And you're going to double crochet in each stitch across. Okay, so your turning chain counts as a double crochet. So you will have 14 stitches in total in this row. Okay, so the way this stitch is made up, we're going to have a double crochet row between our peacock stitches. And this stitch is quite fun because you can actually play around with how big your peacock stitches look and kind of what they look like in the middle, which will make more sense in a minute. So I'm using 3 different colours in this ray, but you can just use one colour, that would look just fine in this stitch. You could also go crazy and use a different colour for every peacock row. Okay, so my last stitch, and I'm going to change colour in this row. So I'm only going to be changing colours at the end of the double crochet rows. Okay, I won't be at the end of the peacock row, so I'm going to do 2 rows in every colour. But I'm just switching after this first one because I don't want to be switching after the peacock stitches. Okay, so that's on, so I'm going to turn it and chain 1, and I'm going to make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch for row 2. Let's get my stitch marker in. I'm using all the blues for this one. Okay. So in the next stitch I'm going to make a double crochet. And now I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I'm going to skip 4 stitches. Okay, and in the next stitch I'm going to slip stitch. One, two, three, four. Yep. Okay, so now I'm going to turn. And around this chain, okay, so just get around that chain and make a single crochet. Then you're going to make 2 half double crochets. 1. Let's get some more yarn. And 2. Okay, so 2 half doubles, and then I'm going to make a double crochet, and then I'm going to make 2 more half doubles, and 2, and a single crochet. Okay, so all those stitches are made around that chain 5. And you can see it's just arching out like a lemon slice stitch, like lemon slice. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to make a slip stitch into the double crochet that we made our chain from. And then I'm going to turn back to the right side. Okay, so now you want to push that stitch down, and then we're going to go back and work into the skip stitches. So that's where the first double crochet was. I'll now go into the next stitch and make a double crochet. Okay, so just keep all those stitches in that chain space, just push down, so we're working into behind them, and double crochet in each of those skipped stitches. 2, one more, get into that one there. And then I'm also going to make a double crochet into that stitch we slip stitched in. I'm going to pull that back up and I want to go into it on the left hand side. You can see it's made into the stitch there, and I'm just going to go onto the opposite side of it. There we go. And so now that sits up. You can see how much it bulges out. So if you were to make smaller stitches in the middle, it would stick out less. You could also shorten the chain length so there's not so much of a gap. But you could also make it thicker if you put trebles or anything in the middle. So it's a really good one to just play around with. Okay, so yep, we're going to do another one. So in the next stitch, I'm going to make a double crochet. Spread some more yarn. Okay, so from this double crochet we're going to make another peacock stitch. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip the next 4 stitches, 2, 3, 4. And then slip stitch into the next stitch. Okay, and then you're going to turn. And around that chain 5, you're going to make a single crochet, 2 half doubles, 1 and 2, a double crochet, another 2 half doubles, 1 and 2, and a single crochet. And then I'm going to slip stitch back into the top of that original double crochet that we made the chain 5 from. And I'm going to turn, push those stitches down, okay, so I can see those skip stitches, and then I'm going to double crochet in each of our skipped stitches. 1, 2, where's that stitch marker getting in the way? 3 and 4. I'm going to push the stitches back up and I'm going to make a double crochet into the stitch that we slip stitched that chain 5 into. But I'm going to make it on the left. Okay, so I'm going to push that over, hook into there, make a double crochet. There you go, my second peacock stitch. So we've got 1 stitch left in the row, and I'm going to double crochet into it. There we go, and turn. Okay, so we're on the wrong side now. So row 3, which turn, chain 1, make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch, and we're going to double crochet in every stitch across. Now you just got to be careful for those slip stitches, make sure you don't work into those. Okay, so you're only making the stitches into the double crochet, ignore the slip stitches. So you should have 14 stitches in total, including that turning chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's one of the slip stitches there. So we just have to ignore that. So that's that one. So it just helps to keep track of, make sure you are working to a double crochet rather than a slip stitch. And just double count once you get to the end, just to make sure. Got another slip stitch coming up. That goes in there. Okay, so that's the other slip stitch there. So So work into the double crochet. I've got one stitch left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and number 14 is the last one. Okay, so I'm going to change colours at the end of this row as well. So every 2 rows for my colour changes. And just pull that through, turn, and chain 1. And the pattern for the rest of the array is to repeat rows 2 and 3. Okay, so all the way up the array you'll have 2 peacock stitches in every other row. You'll do 39 repeats of this. Okay, so until row 39 you repeat rows 2 and 3, and then I'll come back to you once I've got up there and I'll show you what we're doing for row 40. Okay, I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so I finished row 39 and now I need to do row 40. So I'm going to change colours one last time. Just bring that in. And now I'm going to turn. I'm going to chain 1 and single crochet in the first stitch. Okay, so we've done double crochet all the way up, but we're just going to finish this piece with a row of single crochet. And we're just going to single crochet in every stitch across. So you'll have 14 single crochet for this row. Okay. Oops. So you can really have a good play about with this stitch. You can change the length of your chain spaces, the number of stitches going between, the type of stitches. You can create some really lovely effects with this stitch if you just have a play about. I'm just going to finish off. And last few stitches. And there's the last one. Go. And that is the peacock stitch complete. So you can see why they call it the lemon stitch as well, just like little lemon slices. And you can see I've just carried up all my colours up the side, but those will be hidden when we join. Okay, so for your slip stitch border, down the long side you're going to make 2 slip stitches into the side of every double crochet row, and in our row 40 you'll make 1 slip stitch, and that will bring you to 79 slip stitches down the long ends. For the short ends you're just going to make a slip stitch in every stitch. Okay, so that will bring you to 14 slip stitches on the short ends. Once you've done that, you can weave in all your ends and join it to last week's piece. So I hope you enjoy that. It's certainly a bit of a different stitch, an interesting texture, and I shall see you next week for week 41. Bye for now.